What it do, guys? It's D'Anthony here, man, aka Hood Scout, back again for another edition of the Hood Scout podcast. And this is really a unique podcast, a podcast like no other. We're going to have athletes, we're going to have coaches, we're going to have intellectuals, we're going to have media members of all sorts. And don't forget, guys, to like this podcast, share this podcast, and help grow this podcast. This is not just my podcast. This is also your podcast. And the only reason it's going to grow is because you guys are going to be invested in it, guys. Sit back, get your beverage of choice ready, get your popcorn ready, get your dinner ready, get your steak ready, get your vegan meal ready. Tune in, guys. Hood Scout. Peace.
Hey, what it do, guys? This specific episode, I am so excited about, man. This was one of those milestone type of things in my career. Coach Emmett Jones of Texas Tech football. This is a guy that worked his way up through the ranks. I'm talking about starting at Seagoville High School as the offensive coordinator, originally on JV, then varsity as offensive coordinator, going over to Lincoln with Coach Reginald Samples, the original Samples. Then from there to Skyline High School, where they assembled just a great group of guys. They had a lot of talent coming through Skyline High School. On to the college rank, which Cliff Kingsbury, then to Kansas, and he's back at Texas Tech, and he's a guy that he's a guy that's going to continue to rise. He's well known in Dallas. Sit back, guys, listen to this podcast. I would hope that you would continue to share this one, like this one, and let's continue to grow this brand and let's grow this thing organically. And we're doing great so far. So thank you, guys. Tune in, share, like, and take some notes, man. Coach Emmett Jones out of Texas Tech. Hood Scout signing out. Peace.
Yeah. Hey, welcome back to the Hood Scout podcast. Early morning edition, man. I got a great guest from Dallas, Texas, man. A guy that's coaching college ball now. And like I always kick it off, tell my guests to introduce themselves and tell the people where you're from, Coach.
Hey, I appreciate this opportunity, my man. I like what you're doing, man. This platform that you creating for others, man. Share stories, man. It's helping somebody that's far away, man. That's paying attention, man. Emmett Jones from Dallas, Texas, Oak Cliff to be exact. Just born and raised, man. I always been around people, man, in that area, man. That was giving me free game, free knowledge, man. Trying to bless me with vision to get up out the neighborhood.
Now, Coach, you're well known in Dallas. I don't know if anybody gonna listen to this podcast from out of town, but he's coaching in college now, but he's well known in Dallas, in the coaching circle. Coach, what was that introduction to ball for you, and what part of the Cliff did you grow up in?
Man, Southern Oak Cliff to be exact, okay. Man. I went to W.W. Bushman, born and raised in the Oak Cliff Boys Club. Before it was Boys and Girls Club, so the real Oak Cliff Boys Club, for those who really know. So I left W.W. Bushman, went to Sarah Zumwalt, which is still that southern sector of Oak Cliff. And I left Zumwalt, and I had an AAU coach that was sending quite a few kids out to schools at that time that was offering majority to minority transfers. It was Hillcrest, Seagoville, W.T. White, and a few other schools in the city. And we had a few guys from my area that was already out of Seagoville High School. So quite a few of us got on the M&M transfer and went out to Seagoville High School, and it opened my eyes up to all types of different ways to grow.
Coach, did going to Seagoville, what year was that?
What was 89, 93.
Was it a big change coming from Oak Cliff going to Seagoville at that time?
Just a little. I always been a people's guy. I was out there with Ed Wheeler for guys that really remember Big Ed. Ed came from Kimball High School, transferred to Seagoville, and led the city in rebounding and scoring. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was 89, 90. Big Ed, man, he was like a legend, man. So shout out to Big Ed. No, it really wasn't. I was around some good people, man. That was helping me grow up, man. Helping me end up, being the guy I am right now. So no change at all.
Okay, now you're before my time, Coach. A little bit before my time period, because I just turned 30. What? So did you play basketball or football or what?
Went out there actually for basketball.
Okay, basketball. So you was a hooper.
Yep, I was in fall camp going into my 9th grade year, but I tore my ACL in fall camp. So that kind of hindered me a little bit as far as on the basketball court, but I still had a strong arm. Played for the Oak Cliff 49ers, played for the Oak Cliff Boys Club. Then I left and went out, like I say, went out to Seagoville High School, and still was able to play quarterback there. So I was able to utilize my arm, but I didn't quite have that quickness like I had prior to my time in high school.
What is, I mean, like I said, that was years ago. What's something that you remember from those athletic days in high school, Coach?
I know before my high school days, I can remember going to the original Sprague Stadium and
Kimball High School, right? By Kimball.
Yeah, Kimball High School. Watching Kevin Williams and Dallas Roosevelt Mustangs battle it out, man, with the original, which still is the original South Oak Cliff Golden Bears. Man, I remember those days. I remember seeing Armstead with the Carter Cowboys. I remember those big moments, man. You see in Kimball there, Kimball Knights out there at the stadium, man, just packing that stadium out, man. But being at Seagoville, what I quite remember, it was heavy basketball going on around the city around that time. There was Lincoln, there was South Oak Cliff, and then there was Seagoville fighting for it also too. Then you had Dallas Matheson. So it was all about that Larry Johnson, that being on that hardwood, man, bouncing that ball at that time.
Yeah, that Larry Johnson. That's his Skyline, right? He came out Skyline with it.
Yeah, Skyline. Yeah. But he grew up in Oak Cliff Boys Club.
Ah, okay. Wow. Yeah. So walk me through after that high school experience. What route did you decide to go into?
I was just kind of drifting, man. I was fortunate enough at the time to have a guy to invest into me. His name was Rick Dykes, son of legendary Spike Dykes, who was a coach here at Texas Tech not too long ago. Has a big name here up in West Texas. He recruited me, gave me an opportunity to come play ball at Texas Tech, and
that's big, Coach.
Yeah. So my time here at Texas Tech, it was quite a few Dallas guys here. At that time, Dallas Carter was very strong. So Tech used to always come to Dallas and always grab a handful of the Carter players. So I remember coming here. Those guys took me up under the wings. Bam Morris took me up under his wings. Lord Hill and Robert Hall. All those guys pretty much took me up under their wings and kind of just showed me the rope, man. I was just drifting, just trying to figure out, my role in college, my role, and trying to take this next step in life.
Yeah, you getting to college from high school like many young people do. Was it a big adjustment for you?
Huge. You in high school, you the guy. You one of the top dogs on campus. So once you go to college, you got to start all over. You're away from home. Everything is new, man. So it's dogs everywhere. So I just had to figure out the new way, lay of the land, and at the same time trying to find myself to surround myself with good people. But at that time when you're young, man, you end up following guys and find yourself doing things you shouldn't be doing. So, I was blessed to make it through my time here at Texas Tech. But, I only stayed here for 1 year. So I left Texas Tech and I went to University of Texas El Paso. Met quite a few guys from the Fort Worth area, from the Houston area. And I kind of connected with tons of guys from the Los Angeles areas. We still buddies right now. And so once again, I always had older guys taking me up under their wings. So those guys took me up under the wings, kind of was guiding me right when I was trying to go wrong. And I still appreciate that to this day. Stayed there for 2 years, ended up going to the University of North Texas, gave up football there, wanted to work on my degree and get on out. And so I was able to graduate from UNT.
Okay. Hey, Coach, how important is it for guys to, when they go to college, to see other guys from their city or community? Is that an important thing, or is it just more so you're going to just meet guys from all type of walks of life and areas?
I think it's important, but at the same time, you need to broaden your horizon. I didn't think there, I thought Oak Cliff at the time, West Dallas was pretty much the world. I didn't think nothing was bigger than Oak Cliff or West Dallas. So I was able to kind of open up, man, and learn, and, just learn some new way of living, just learn new ways of just how to handle myself, man. So yeah, I think it's vital that give you that sense of home when you do go away. There's guys from your area that's attending that same organization that you attended, that same university. So yeah, I think that's important to be around guys from your area.
What's a nugget, Coach, looking back, like you got a lot of wisdom, you're older now. What's a nugget that you would give to these, maybe let's say seniors or juniors getting ready to make that transition to college? Maybe something that you didn't know or you didn't do back then. What's a little nugget that they should kind of mentally prepare for as they get ready to take this next level?
Time management. You start now while you're in high school, while you're in junior high. working your way up through high school, time management, being able to balance out, normal life, academics, athletics, balancing that stuff, figuring out what's important, what's going to help you continue to advance later on in life, man. So at that time when you are young, you don't quite realize the people that you have around you trying to help you, show you the way. You get caught up in what's going on with the culture, or what's going on with the current society. Then you kind of tend to drift a little bit, so time management, surrounding yourself with good people, man, and it just keeps soaking up good knowledge.
Yeah. Okay. So you get out of what did you graduate with your degree in, Coach?
I just wanted to get the first anything that allowed me
Yeah.
that could help me get out of college. So I got my
Okay.
degree in social work.
Okay.
If I start all over, I'd probably do it totally different. But at that time, I was just kind of getting fed up. I wanted to graduate. At the same time, I was first person in my family to go
Yeah.
to first person even to come close to finishing college. So to me, getting a social work degree from where I'm from, that was almost like getting a master's,
Yeah.
so or a PhD, but yeah, I got it in social work, and I worked in my field for about a good year and a half. I got away from the game, wanted to do something different, work downtown, did that for like a year and a half, and and I started missing the game. And that kind of opened up my eyes to something totally different.
That's still good, Coach. You graduated college, like you say, coming from where we come from. That's a lot of times we are the first, second to graduate. So you get out of that corporate America, if you will. Walk me through that introduction back into high school ball or ball period, because I don't know what level you started at.
All right, I was I remember I was down in Houston for Christmas going into the new year. I was down there for almost a good month. Like I said, I had been away from football almost like a year and a half, 2 years, and there was the state championship game going on at the time in the Astrodome in Houston. It was Stephenville High School versus Port Neches Grove, and I remember,
What year we talking, Coach?
This was 2000.
Okay.
Yep, state championship game, December 2000, going into 2001. I just wanted to get away from the house. I had, been cooped up in the house down in Houston. I just wanted to get out and get away a little bit. So I ended up getting a ticket going over to watch the state championship game. Went by myself. I'm kind of like alone. I like to do things by myself.
Me
most
too.
of the time. It allowed me to do some thinking, man. And so I went to that state championship game, sat in the end zone, and watched Art Browse and Kendall Browse play against Port Neches Grove. I mean, it was a packed house. Everybody from Stephenville there. They was shaking those rattlers with all those coins in them. And Port Neches, they packed out the whole side of the Astrodome. And I had chills throughout my whole body because I've been away from the game. I had chills, man. My eyes were getting watery. I was just missing it, man. I just feel at that moment, I feel like this is where I need to be at. And so I remember walking back to my car. I called my high school coach. I just told him, as Charlie Cox. I called him. I told him that I'm missing the game. What can I do to get back around the game? He said, I tell you what, once school start back up for the second semester, come see me. Put a suit on and come see me. And so I did that, and I was hired on the spot, at my alma mater, Seagoville High School, and here we are now, man. Almost like 21, 22 years later.
Yeah. So when you got hired, Coach, how old were you?
I think at that time I was like 24.
24. So I'm sure you walked in there wide-eyed, bushy tail. Let's walk through that experience because we're going to lead up to tech and all this stuff, but I like to chop it up a little bit. Walk me through that experience. You get to Seagoville, walk me through that mindset and how you felt.
Hey, I was just excited to be a coach. I didn't care. At that time, I wasn't thinking about coaching varsity ball. I just wanted to be around the game. So at that time, I was just the offensive coordinator for the junior varsity. And then Friday nights, I would go scout for the varsity football team and the rest of the staff. So, I took pride in that role. I wanted to be the best guy up in the press box. When it came to scouting, I wanted to carry myself in a professional way. And at the same time, I want to get my reports and get my notes together and do a great job as far as presenting that scouting report to the staff the following Saturday morning. And so I did that for like a year. Then I was promoted going into my second year as a varsity wide receiver coach, still an offensive coordinator. So I did that for like 2 more years, in that district, playing against Lincoln, playing against Madison, playing against South Oak Cliff, So, coaching against some guys, man, that's right now, that's probably some of the best African-American coaches in the state of Texas. And that's Coach Samples. He was over at Dallas Lincoln, the original Coach Samples. He was over at Dallas Lincoln at the time, and I can remember playing against him at Forster Stadium on a Saturday afternoon. I think it was Lincoln's homecoming, and man, they just ran us out the stadium. But I remember looking at him because I admired him so much. I remember looking at him before I got on the bus to go back to Seagoville after the game. He looked at me and said, "Give me a call." And that call right there changed my life. So I called him, and he told me.
Let me stop you, Coach. What did he see in you that y'all already kind of know each other from afar?
Once I did call him, he asked me to come see him. His first thing he said, "Coach, I've been watching you for the last 2 or 3 years. I like your style, Coach. You get after your guys. They play hard for you. You're full of passion. That's what we're about over at Lincoln, Coach. We got our own fraternity as coaches. You'll fit right in." And so at the time, I still had to get certified. Me and Coach Todd, we were in the alternative certification program at the same time, and Dallas ISD started at the same time. I went to Seagoville, he went to Lincoln. But I never realized I emerged right back with Coach Todd over at Lincoln. So yeah, basically Coach Sample he told me he liked my style and wanted me to be a part of his program as soon as I got certified. So that gave me motivation to really go ahead and attack that test and do what I need to do. And so I ended up passing that test and going over to coach with him in that magical 2004 season at Lincoln.
Man, that's a lot of nuggets there, Coach. I think if you're a young coach now, Coach just said it. Attack what you do, whether it's JV, whether it's scouting role, carry yourself, like you're ready for the position. And he admired you from afar, Coach. That just gives you credit that you was prepared beforehand. I remember, Coach, I was probably about 14, Coach, watching that Lincoln team, 13, 14 years old. Yeah. And you guys gave a lot of hope to Dallas. This is before SOC was. You guys were really coming out. I think you had Byron Eaton at quarterback. And you had a little walk me through that because for this younger generation, they may not know, but you guys was doing some stuff at that time.
Yeah, we were loaded, man. People don't understand, man. Just trying to keep a team together, keep a group of neighborhood boys together for 15 to 16 weeks in the inner city, where there's, man, all types of battles those guys go through on a night in, night out basis, man. And we're just trying to keep those guys motivated to come to school and at the same time perform on the football field. So people really don't understand what goes into all of that when trying to keep that mind right with that program. That was Byron Eaton on that team. We had Eric Russell, was probably one of the best receivers, one of the first great receivers I ever coached. Then there was Mark Fisher. Then we had a handful of other good guys also too, and we were able to make that state championship run, and we lost to Kilgore down at Floyd Casey Stadium in Waco in double overtime on a blocked field goal. I never forget that for the rest of my life. But just that season right there, it changed my life. And I can remember getting back to the school. We left that game. We drove back to South Dallas. That next Sunday morning, I remember getting a phone call from Coach Samples. He just called me, said, "Coach, come see me." Hung up in your face. That's how Coach was,
Yeah.
He got something on his mind. He gonna call you early. You don't want to miss that phone call. And what he got to say, he gonna say it real quick. Go end that conversation very quick. So at the same time, I was thinking like, man, what did I do? So he told me then that he had been offered the head football coaching job at Dallas Skyline and the campus coordinator. And he wanted me to come over and be his offensive coordinator. And I immediately said yes. And so we hit that ground 1,000 miles and running. And that really paved the way for starting those magical years over at Dallas Skyline, just grinding, outworking everybody and attracting kids.
Yeah. Coach, what at Lincoln, or just in general, but at Lincoln, what was your coaching style? Like what type of coach was you? I know when I was at Skyline, I wasn't a starting them. I just remember you from on campus and playing JV, but you were kind of like the cool guy to me. I'm like, man, that's a cool kind of coach. What type of style did you have as a coach back then? Or what was your style?
It's still it's similar to this day. I like to establish deep relationship with players, students, players, people, period. I like to establish deep relationships. I like to win over trust. I like for those guys to trust me, and I want to trust those guys also too. So once we establish those lines and cross those barriers, and then there comes the constructive criticism after that. And there's nothing personal because we already established true, deep, authentic type relationships. So I'm a coach still to this day of 1,000 personalities. So I label myself. I don't always want to be a knucklehead style coach 24/7. So sometimes I'm a player's coach. I can be like a brother. I can be a dad. I can be a teacher. I can be a homeboy. I can be a cousin, so I can be an advocate for them. I can be their lawyer, so it's multiple ways I try to reach those guys. I try to balance that line, as far as when I need to turn the switch up as far as getting results, and when I need to kind of mild the switch off as far as approach them a certain way, is trying to keep those guys motivated to try to achieve and succeed each day.
Looking back, Coach, and thinking now, you're really a legend, Coach. And I'm just thinking where you are now and then where you are before you are now. You're really a legend to go for the high school ranks to where you are now. But I don't want to just jump to that right now. I still want to take it like this. So you get the Skyline, Coach. What was the difference between Skyline and Lincoln, or was it one? I mean, did Coach Samples just leave there because of maybe more opportunity, or was it because of that coordinator? I mean, athletic, was it coordinator, right? As well as a head coach?
Yeah.
What made them leave? What made y'all leave Lincoln and go to Skyline?
At that time, Skyline was the pride of Dallas ISD because you was getting a mixture of all kids. You was getting the neighborhood kids, and you was getting those prestigious academic kids also too that came from solid families, and and kids that pretty much had a plan for which way they want to go after high school, and the route they needed to take as far as college and trying to get into the professional world. Major difference. One thing we really noticed once we got over the Skyline, the level of toughness. The Lincoln kids, they was all just built off straight glass chewers. Those, you couldn't break those guys for nothing. We kind of labeled the Skyline guys at the time, they were spoon-fed kids. They wasn't used to our style as coaching. We had to ease our way over to those guys, which we did. We did it in a fast way. They bought into it fast, and we started seeing quick results also too. So, just being part of Dallas ISD prestigious program, that was the major draw for all of us.
Man, I'm loving this, Coach. We're about 20 minutes in. I still got a few more questions to ask, Coach, so I hope we got a little bit more time. Coach, I remember those Skyline days, man. Who were some of those guys that stood out looking back, some of those leaders of the team? I remember a lot. I remember on defense, man. I thought Kenny Cooper was one of the best defensive guys, but you was on offense, but just who were some of those guys you remember?
Okay, this story I always tell people of Skyline. Troy Stoudemire changed the perception of Skyline High School football. Remember, he came in from Seagerville.
Yeah, I do remember that.
He transferred there too, so do your research.
Yeah. I remember that.
That track players, this was going on a long time ago.
Yep.
He came in and he changed the face of Skyline football. And then we was able to attract an elite freshman by the name of Tony Drake also too. He changed the style of football. In that Tony Drake class, you had Mike Davis, you had J.B. Hall, then you had a handful of other guys also too. So and those guys became like neighborhood legends. Then they grew from neighborhood legends to like city legends. Then you had Pop Warner players. You had middle school guys that want to be the next Tony Drake, want to be the next Troy Stoudemire. So the floodgates open up. We didn't have to do nothing. Those guys just want to come be a part of the academics and the athletic program. So it was tons of studs that came through there. Tony Drake, Troy Stoudemire, Mike Davis, of course, Thomas Johnson, and a handful of other guys came through on that offensive side. Michael Morgan, Dominique Spencer, Keenan Cooper, tons of guys, man.
Tons of guys, Dupree.
Yeah.
And I think about, because see, Mike Davis and Tony Drake, they're my age, and I think Mike Davis is underrated. I think he's top 5 all time at Texas in receiving yards. You don't really hear about him, and I'm like, man, that's crazy to me.
Yeah. See, Mike Davis is a part of. He got a story to tell. So people need to pay Mike Davis to come to their campus to speak to certain kids, man, certain school districts, man. They need to finance this young man to share his story. The system, that's when I talk to high school players. Academics has to fit you, the town has to fit you, just the school in general has to fit you. At the same time, the athletic program needs to fit you also too, as far as what you're about as a player. Logos don't mean nothing really after you sign. It's really, how do you fit in within that program, and how do that program perceive you? Do that program want to see you be successful, or are they going to go the extra mile to help you be successful? Some kids go to schools like that. Some kids get caught up in a shuffle. That's why you see the transfer portal the way it is right now. Yeah, but Mike Davis was the first one that started some of this stuff that we're seeing right now back in 08 07, 09, running routes, getting off the line of scrimmage,
Oh,
having natural swagger, man. He was that dude, that
yeah.
was getting doubled, man, deep in a playoff game. We playing big time programs. He was that guy that defense coordinators tried to take away. But his style, the way he carried himself, the way he came out the locker room, the way he put the uniform on, it was immediate intimidation. And so still to this day, I'm trying to find the next Mike Davis. I'm trying to surround myself with those type of guys, man, those go-getters, man, that know how to do it, natural style, natural swag,
Yeah, and I remember seeing him I think that was sophomore year after practice running routes. I said, he's different. He going D1 because I just didn't see a lot of guys stay out to practice and run routes and it was kind of carried itself kind of serious a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Not joking, kind of like he wanted it.
Yep. He bought into coaching, man. He wanted to be great, so in anything you taught him, anything you showed him, man, he was locked in on you, man. He wanted to know why, how is this going to help me, and how can I benefit from it, so he was a true student of the game.
So we lead up. So what was that next stop after Skyline? I mean, a lot of success there, Coach. What was that next stop after that period of time?
After that, man, it was me taking a job at the almighty South Oak Cliff High School. Everybody was big time. Crazy, like, why would you leave Skyline High School to go to South Oak Cliff? And Deion Sanders, he just opened up Prime Prep like 2 minutes away from South Oak Cliff High School. Well, I had a vision.
Okay.
I had a vision that was like miles ahead of everyone else's thoughts. I still think that way too. I always think years away from everybody else. That's just the way I am. I like to just keep those thoughts to me. And those thoughts, man, they're all about attracting players, attracting coaches. You know what I mean? Trent said. So yeah, we hit the South Oak Cliff. I still remember that interview, being at that table. The principal asked me, we want what he told me. He said, we want this to be the Skyline South. How can we help you create this into the Skyline South? Well, I already had everything I needed. I already knew what coaches I need. And I just asked those guys to help me get these guys in this building. And those guys are pretty much cut from the same cloth I was cut off of. That's hard work, loving their players, being true with it. No ego guys, all about players, and coaching their tail off. And so I was able to bring those guys in, man, and it took off, man. In a matter of 3 years, I mean, it took off sky high. And that propelled me to be where I'm at right now. That propelled Coach Todd to be in a position he's in right now at South Oak Cliff. And that propelled those guys to be one of the first team to win a state championship since Dallas Carter. Back
So we're 25 minutes up. I'm gonna speed it up just because I want to be sensitive, Coach Tom. I remember those sock team. That's y'all were getting talent, and that's the one of the thing I noticed. So at that time, Coach, didn't you leave to go to Tech? If correct, or was I wrong? Okay, you went to Tech for a little bit, and then was it Kansas?
Yep, went to University.
Okay, let's talk about that a little bit, and then we'll end on that Tech where you're at now. So talk about that little mixture when you left college, and then you had to go to another college. How was that experience?
I came to Tech in 2015, January of 2015. Cliff called me, and it was hard to tell him no. Came on 2 interviews up here. Wanted to soak up his knowledge, wanted to see how he operate. That joker was a worker, man, a brainiac. I used to always call him Steve Jobs of offensive game plan and just scheming in general. He was just like Steve Jobs, So I want to know why he thought certain things. I want to know how he saw things, and I was just a sponge. I was really the only offensive coach to work for him for 4 years.
Wow.
Only guy to stay and work with him for 4 years. So I left Texas Tech after 4 years, and I had a chance to go work with Coach Miles. I want to learn from him also too at the University of Kansas. So I think by me leaving Texas Tech in 2018, it allowed me to really grow and expand into this profession. Now I see things totally different now. I see the big picture when it comes to being on this level. And I appreciate everything I experienced in Lawrence, Kansas. And so, had some success there coaching wide receivers and win the games that we wanted to win there. But you saw that program starting to turn around a little bit, But I thought I did have some of the best receivers I ever coached at the University of Kansas. And that created opportunities for me also too. They saw those guys make plays. They saw those guys get developed. And so I started getting other phone calls from other universities for us, opportunities. And then being in Dallas, coaching at South Oak Cliff, playing against Cedar Hill, being familiar with Joel McGuire, coached against Joel McGuire. We always talked about whoever get the opportunity, man. Let's help each other out. And he beat me to it. And offered me the job at Texas Tech, brought in my guy, Zach Kelly, one of the best minds in college football, and I couldn't turn that down. For my position, with what Coach Kentley liked to do, and I already kind of have an idea of what he liked to do, it was a no-brainer for me. Get my family back in Texas, man. Come back to Texas Tech. Let's win some Big 12 titles, man. Let's compete for this national championship. Let's continue to send receivers to the league, man. Let's see where it go from there.
And I gotta say this though, because you kind of humble, coach, so you won't say it, but wasn't you the interim head coach at one time?
Sure it was.
That's big time, coach. I mean, I know you probably don't talk about that type of stuff, but yeah. I remember that period because you had a lot of support in Dallas that want you to get that head job, and it was just amazing to see you come from where you come from to being even the interim head coach. That was big, coach. I just want to give you your flowers in saying that.
Appreciate that, man. I had a lot in store for that also too, man. Just like how that thing took off at South Oak Cliff. We had plans up in Lawrence, Kansas, man. It was about to get very scary fast, too. Man. But I still have those same dreams, though, so it's not over. But I appreciate you for that, though. Yeah.
So we figure ready to end it. We are just about 30 minutes. I got probably about 2 more questions. Coach, what are y'all about at Tech, man? You got Joy, you got Zach, the young man. Who is Tech? Tech, talk to me about y'all brand. What is it y'all trying to build up there?
Brand at Texas Tech, man. It's all built on toughness. It's all toughness. It's all about competing. It's all about hard working. Then it's all about having true, authentic relationships, being good people. That's where I'm at in my career right now. I got to be with good people. Anybody that have that have the ability to touch players on a collegiate level, that's academics, that's nutrition, strength staff, coaches, ops guys. I do my research with all of that right now. I don't get caught up in just a job. I want to know who are these people, what are they about? Are they really about the players, or are they really about wins and losses, or in the university? I feel like if you take care of the players, everything else gonna take care of itself. So, and that's what Joy is about. It's all family oriented here, built on hard work, man, putting the players first, putting his family first, man, and being the toughest team in the Big 12, the toughest team in the country.
Let me ask you this, Coach. I can tell you're a cerebral guy. What's your ways of learning? As a coach, as a man, as a husband, what's your way of learning?
I got to hear it. I want to see it, and it got to have defined rules with everything I do. I got to hear it. I got to see it, and it has to have defined rules. It has to answer the why and how. It has to answer all of that. So I'm a guy that's built on rules. What we're doing, want to keep it very simple. Want it to appear difficult. But I definitely want it to be very simple for guys. I don't like to put players in a situation where they need to think. I don't want to put too much on their mind. I want to simplify that stuff as much as possible to allow these guys to play fast and make plays and playing the game that they love. So I got to see it and hear it.
Let's end with this one, Coach. What would you give? I mean, you're a young coach you got it out the mud, Coach, from high school. We just talked about starting at Seagoville to interim coach at Kansas, now at Tech, and more likely gonna be a head coach one day. What wisdom would you give a young coach trying to rise through the rank, or even a young coach that may got aspirations to coach at the college level? What's something that he needs to hone in right now? And we'll end with that one.
Stay professional. You never know who's watching you. Just stay professional. Even when it comes to social media, the way you carry yourself in the hallways, in the classroom, on the sideline. Just stay professional, in the mall, period. However you carry yourself, just stay professional, stay clean cut, stay sharp, treat people right. You treat people right, people going to treat you right. Then invest into the product. The product is a student athlete, so truly invest into that. And at the same time, be where your feet are. Take care of your current job. You don't have to chase it. You dominate your current job, somebody going to notice that. And the least time you expect it, you'll get a phone call from somebody who you have a lot of respect for that'll give you some type of opportunity to continue to chase that dream. Just stay professional.
30 minutes in, that's a wrap, Coach. Coach Emmett Jones out of Texas Tech, the wide receiver coach, man. The guy he's really coached a lot of talent, guys. Go do your research on him. We couldn't even dive all the way in because I want to be mindful of these guys' time, but we got enough of it, Coach. I appreciate you. I'm gonna probably share a clipping of this and a little bit on social media. And I thank you for your time. It means a lot to me.
I appreciate you, man. You keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Yes, sir. Take care. God bless.
You too. God bless.
All righty. Bye-bye.